Hey guys, be sure to check out the Mortar Pod, our weekly video podcast, and also check out the tutorial video for my board game, Travelers of Storia. Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing another Swiss M15 draft. Kind of an unexciting pack we've opened here. I got Waste Not, which I don't want to take. The strongest card in here is probably Willforged Golem or Ensoul Artifact. Oddly enough, Reclamation Sage actually seems like an okay card. There's quite a few playable artifacts and enchantments in this set, so I think I might actually maybe open up with the Reclamation Sage. That's a weird first pick, understandably, but it is a May Destroy, so you never hurt yourself. It is a 3-mana 2/1, which is admittedly unexciting, but in green you have both Invasive Species and Roaring Primadox for additional naturalized uses, and I don't know, a lot of the time I'm kind of happy blasting an artifact or an enchantment. In Soul Artifacts, it's cute. I'm not really into that that synergy. I'm just not really into that. Follow-up pick. Well, we've got a Cone of Flame passed to us. I think we almost have to take that since few people have said it's, whatever, strongest card in the format or whatever. Illusory Angel's a great card. I like the Paragons. Curse Spirit, love the Evasion. A lot of good cards in contrast in this pack. A lot of good playables. Almost every single one of these is a playable card of some sort. But yeah, I mean, let's just slam dunk the old Cone of Flame. That's a little bit too good to pass, I would think. Okay, what? Pass me a Haunted Plate Mail. The card's great. So happily taking that. It's also Flesh to Dust in here, but I actually just really like Haunted Plate Mail. What a remarkably strong card. If you don't have creatures, you get a 4/4 dude that can't be hit by sorcery speed removal until post-combat, at least. You just activate it and block something. So that's insane. Or 4 mana +4/+4, which is huge. So I like that more than the Flesh to Dust. There's also Sentinel in here, which is good. Wayfinder's fine. I think I can come around on Wayfinder if you're playing cards. If you manage to pick up like Restock or something like that. Unmake the Graves, which a bunch of people were quick to mention. I didn't do that when I was playing green-black or something. Like I didn't pick up Unmake the Graves, so I guess I should have at least mentioned it or something, and I didn't. But yeah, Haunted Plate Mail. Happily picking that up. Great card. Okay, next we've got White Paragon, which could be a sign for white. Netcaster Spider. There you go. There's a good green card. I mean, Netcaster Spider goes better with the Reclamation Sage. Paragon's probably overall a better card, but I can't recall if we were seeing a bunch of good white. Not that I can remember. Certainly weren't seeing any triplicate spirits, but that does make this Paragon maybe one of the best because there's both Raise the Alarm and triplicate spirits, which benefit greatly from obviously getting boosted. But I think we got to go with the Spider here. I'm cool with that. If we don't end up playing the Cone of Flame, too bad, so sad. But Netcaster Spider is much better than both Rummaging Goblin and Founder Street Denizen, and there's nothing else in here that's really motivating me to go to another color except the White Paragon, which could have been a pick there too. Alright, well, Crowd's Favor in red. Frostlinks in blue. It's not bad. I'm a huge Crowd's Favor fan. People always forget when you're tapped out, and you just got an untapped red creature, and then it's just out of nowhere you get that boost. So I love this card. Very cool. I've had a lot of success with Crowd's Favor. So I'm tempted to take it. I mean, anything that moves me into playing Cone of Flame is going to make me pretty happy, since this literally at least cancels out a triplicate spirits for 5 mana. Let's take the Crowd's Favor. It's fine. It's a good trick. Nothing else in green really standing out. Frostlinks is pretty good for blue, but that's all right. Okay, I'm a huge Frenzied Goblin fan, so we could take that here. It's also Ranger's Guile, but yeah, I think I'm fine with Frenzied Goblin. Rotfeaster Maggot, very good for the It actually pairs pretty well with Wayfinder since, you know, you mill some creatures, get some additional value out of them. Aeronaut Tinkerer is good. Marked by Honors playable. I'm a big Frenzied Goblin fan. Really do love this card. Helps you pay for Convoke, and then later it gets rid of a blocker for a turn. At least a turn. Okay. So, I mean, Scavenger would be fine if... I think I've decided Scavenger's fine in a deck where you have tons of 1 and 2 drop creatures. Because then you should be expecting to make a lot of trades. Like if you have a lot of Venom Slivers or, you know, Typhoid Rats, stuff along those lines, or with the self-mill. But specifically when a lot of trading is going down, I think that's where Scavenger really shines in like the mid-game. Let's take, I guess we could take the Scavenger. It's not very good, but Hammerhand's not terribly exciting to me. If we end up getting a Brood Keeper, maybe I'll want the Hammerhand, but let's just take the Scavenger. Gather Courage is a fantastic card. Happily going to take that over the Lava Axe, Might Makes Right, Moss Beast that are on color. Gather Courage, just all these free spells like this, big fan. Very cool cycle. Very cool way to make spells free, in my opinion. Unlike the new Phyrexia way that turned out to be a little bit too good, I think. At least for Mental Misstep. Vine Weft, I guess we can take here since it's on color. Cut green the best we can. Charging Rhino is late. Titanic Growth is good. I'm a big Charging Rhino fan. I like Titanic Growth a lot too, but Charging Rhino is a good threat. I think it's a very good fat threat to get. Currently only have 4 creatures, one of which is a Scavenger, which I'd prefer not to play anyway. Let's take the Rhino. Alright, Table of Wayfinder. It's a good sign for green, so it can pretty easily take that. It's going to help the Scavenger a little bit, I guess. Bloodhost is an actual good card. I think I'll hate that. Already got 1 Vine Weft, so I guess we can take a Wall of Fire and sideboard maybe, in case I need it. Is that foil? I should turn on the foil animation. I can't even tell foils from non-foils. Alright. So, pretty good pack 1. I'm happy with Cone of Flame, obviously. Haunted Plate Mail. Our first pick was a little bit odd, but I certainly don't mind having a Reclamation Sage. I think it's a good card. Here's an Aether Spouts, which is strong, but I don't think we're going to take it. I think we're going to take the Curd Chieftain over the Siege Worm and the Lightning Strike. I mean, I could hope to table the Curd Chieftain, but this is like the main reason that you play red-green, to be honest. I mean, of course I want the Lightning Strike. Of course I want the Siege Worm, but I even want the Borderland Marauder. I want all of them. But you can't get everything you want. So instead I'm just going to take the hyper-efficient dude that lets you attack in and have a combat trick for any of your dudes, which is super strong. So yeah, we got to take the Chieftain. Okay, so we can take Borderland Marauder, but I think we're more into Elvish Mystic. I think Ramp trumps good attacker for me, at least for this deck, since we actually have some stuff that's going to help us get value out of our mana, as well as Haunted Plate Mail still turns Elvish Mystic into a serious threat. So I do like the Borderland Marauder quite a bit. I just think having the 1-drop that ramps you is a more valuable tool to have at your disposal. You really want to power stuff out. Alright, Generator Servant's an option. Roaring Primadox has good synergies with Reclamation Sage, but I guess Wayfinder to a certain extent. Already have a few 4-drops, but I guess we could easily cut Undergrowth Scavenger too. Rough Rider is a fine 3-drop. Generator Servant's fine 2-drop. Power out a Rhino. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's early enough with the Primadox where we could definitely find some living totems or other into the battlefield effects. And I would very easily play it over an Undergrowth Scavenger. So, I think I'd take the Primadox. I mean, I guess I do want to make sure I get enough early drops, so I could take like the Generator Servant. But it seems less good than the Primadox. I'm going to take the Primadox just on a hunch. that it could pan out well. Shaman of Spring has good synergies with our Primidox. Bloodseeker is pretty good if we have removal, which we actually don't have that much of. I guess we have Cone of Flame. That would actually be bonkers. Kill 3 things your opponent controls, and this dude turns into, what, an 8/1 first strike? That's ridiculous. We could take... that might be motivation to take the Bloodseeker. That actually seems like a real game changer. Play a Bloodseeker, kill 3 dudes, attack for 8. There's also a Rhino in here, and like I mentioned, the Shaman of Spring, but I think I'm actually going to go with the Bloodseeker on this one. That seems like a super powerful effect. Alright, Siege Worm, Paragon, both of which are good. I think I'm going to take the Siege Worm because I have a few cheap creatures already, and I imagine I'm going to get some more. And as much as I like the Paragon, I do like the Paragon, by the way, I think the Siege Worm is going to be more valuable to me overall, powering it out, especially if I can table any of these Generator Servants. I'm going to take the Siege Worm. Kurd Chieftain number 2 seems obvious. Let's take that. At this point, let's just cut the Scavenger. I think I'm just not interested. Alright, Inferno Fist is always my go-to. I love that card. Gather Courage is good too, as is Torch Fiend, but gotta go with the Inferno Fist on that one. Back to Nature is a sideboard card. Miner's Bane's a finisher, but not that great. I don't think I'm going to main deck it. So I think I'm going to take the sideboard Back to Nature, just in case. Play against some crazy Aura deck. Tabling a Siege Worm is pretty ridiculous. I could use another 2-drop, but I don't want to pass the Siege Worms here. These are like some of the strongest cards in this format. You really got to slam them. And then we table a Borderland Marauder anyway. Happily taking that. Let's hate the Ephemeral Shields. Those can be really annoying. Shaman of Spring, that's cool with our Primidox. Quite a few 4-drops already, but that's okay. So pack 3, going into pack 3 with a set of 20 cards I'm really happy with. At this point, I think we definitely have enough win cons, so I'm happy. I'm very happy with all the win cons we ended up with. Let's really focus fire on 2 and 3 drops in this last pack, and I think we're going to be a very solid looking build. Let's get rid of this Vine Weft, because I don't think we want that. Everything else looks very good. I'm not unhappy with any of the cards we have in here. Roaring Primidox, admittedly, not looking amazing right now. It works well with the Sage, Shaman, Wayfinder, but beyond that, not too much value. So because of the amount of 4-drops we have, I could be willing to lose the Primidox. Getting double Chieftain is very good too. Court of Callings, of course, seems good, but Lightning Strike might just be the pick because that's an awesome card. Court of Calling, digging up. I mean, of course, there's plenty of stuff to dig up that's good, but you got it. I mean, you got to take Lightning Strike at this point. What did I take over the previous one? Now I forget. The Kurd Chieftain. The Chieftain, I think, in this deck, better than Court of Calling would be in this deck. I mean, you can search up any color creature. It's not just green creatures. So I guess for 6 mana, Court of Calling's good, no doubt, and that's probably worth a ticket too. But, I mean, Lightning Strike, dudes. You gotta get that Lightning Strike. Yeah, I gotta burn things down rather than power things out, I guess. Can't help myself. Living Totem, very, very good. And Torch Fiend also in here, which is good, but Living Totem Convokes. I love this card. This is a more interesting target than the Shaman of Spring to interact with the Primidox, in my opinion. So I might actually cut the Shaman in order to play the Living Totem. I mean, crowd's favor number 2 would be fine, but I actually think this deck wants the Runeclaw Bear just to really solidify that we've got enough early game going on. I believe a few people have mentioned that Runeclaw Bear is markedly stronger in this format than it would be in previous formats because you've got all of these X1s. You have the inclusion of cards like Forge Devil. So being immune to that style of effect is very nice. Naturalize is in here. We've got the Bronze Sable. Could take the Blastfire Bolt since it's actual removal and we're actually a little bit short on removal. We've got some combat tricks, but nothing too amazing. Really not much else for us in here. Flesh of Dust and Raise the Alarm being super strong cards, but let's take the Blastfire Bolt. All right, Runeclaw Bear, number 2. There's also a Titanic Growth. We're at 16 creatures currently. My first cut is probably the Shaman of Spring, just because I've got so many 4-drops already. And I like having a few removal spells. I think actually we can take the Titanic Growth here as our 23rd card. Then we just have an excellent mix of creatures and pump spells. Runeclaw Bear number 2 is fine. It's just, I think I'd rather have the Titanic Growth. All right, Living Totem number 2 is definitely the pick, and then we just got to figure out what we're cutting for that. Preferably not early game. I could probably do it over the Bolt, because the Bolt is not a terribly exciting removal spell. It's not bad, it's just I'd rather be running a Living Totem in my deck than I think a Blastfire Bolt. So let's take the Totem. Charging Rhino number 2 is probably fine. It's a little bit on the pricier end. Maybe at this point, I actually don't know what I would cut for it, to be honest. I think we're probably good. We've got a pretty good game plan at this point. I don't want to cut any of my early game. I really want to make sure we've got enough 1 and 2 drops where I'm consistently dropping spells. I do like the Charging Rhino. I just don't think that we need it. So let's take the Plummet for the sideboard. For the bomby flyers I can't deal with. I do only have a spider pretty much. Siege Worm number 3? Jeez. Can I even play a 3rd Siege Worm? I can probably play a 3rd Siege Worm over a Charging Rhino. Right? I think at this point I'm leaving the Primadox because I actually have enough into the battlefield stuff. The Wayfinder, the Sage, Double Totem seems definitely good enough with Primadox to jam that. I mean, Enforcer is fine too. It fills the curve better. I could do that. I gotta take the Siege Worm. That's just, it's one of the strongest commons. I've got enough early plays to really power it out at like 4 or 5 mana. Not tabling any of the Generator Servants is definitely makes it a little bit worse, but Founder Street Denizen's a card, but not one I really want. Nor is Rogue's Gloves for that matter, but I guess I'll take it anyway. I think I'm playing the 3rd Siege Worm over the Charging Rhino. In my mind, they're probably going to be played for the same mana, and I'd rather have an additional power and toughness and have trample. Let's Hate the Child of Night. Excellent 2-drop creature. Really shouldn't be going that late. This is a fine deck that we've got. I know I build red-green all the time, but it's tough. I mean, when you're getting past the Cone of Flame, I don't know what to say. Glacial Crasher is good against us, so I guess we could hate that. Don't need the Scavenger. I'm not going to play the first one. Endless Obedience could be good maybe against us if we mill one of our Siege Worms or something. Miner's Bane, sure. Sliver, sure. Alright, it looks like we've already got our deck built. This is probably how I'm going to run it. We've got a good spread of creatures. We've got a little bit on the pricier end, but let me do a count. It's kind of, I guess it's a little bit odd that we ended up with so few 3-drops, but keep in mind Living Totem can be played for 3 mana too, if you have a 1 or 2-drop or 3-drop creature. Let's separate stuff out, take a look at what we're dealing with here. So 6 1 and 2-drop creatures, which is a very good count. 2 very good tricks here. I love the Titanic Growth, Strike, Inferno Fist, Cone of Flame. Removal Suit looks excellent. Double Curd Chieftain is amazing. Quite a few 4-drops, but once again the totems have Convoke. Triple Siege Worm could be a little bit scary, but also keep in mind these are usually played at about 5 mana. So 5 mana, 5/5 Trampler, usually pretty good. I guess, do I have any cheaper? I don't have any other cheap creatures, so I think this is definitely how we're running it. I'm pretty happy with this build. I do like it. I think it's powerful. It's a little dependent on how many 1, 2, and 3-drop spells we see, but 8 cards in our deck, so a little bit less than a fourth of our deck creature-wise can be played before turn 3, but also keep in mind we've got a lightning strike, so we've got that. Haunted Plate Mail is a 4-drop creature as well. Although I guess it does seem a bit awkward in here because we already have so many 4-drops, but slap a Haunted Plate Mail and a Siege Worm, get in for 9 trample. That seems insane. Yeah. This deck's good. No doubt. No doubt. Sort by color. More green than red, but the Siege Worms are a big portion of the green that we need, so I think I'd rather do it like a 9-8, I think. Let me sort by mana cost again, and let's combine it. Yeah, because we actually need red early to help get some Convoke going, as well as just play 2-drop creatures and get our Lightning Strike when we need it. So I think we are going to do 9-8. Overall, very powerful deck. Excellent distribution of creatures to spells. The spells we do have have high impact, like Cone of Flame, Siege Worms for days. Yes, we're running 3, which might seem a bit sketchy, but I'm willing to try it. I don't think it's that sketchy. Not with the combat tricks we have for our early creatures. So I guess we're just really dependent on, can we see at least a couple creatures in the first 5 turns that we can play, you know? If we can't, then we're going to be in trouble, but Curd Chieftain can flip a game. Living Totem makes our early plays better. A lot of good synergies, a lot of powerhouse cards in here. I'm very satisfied. So we'll see you round 1.